The Holy Gospel according to St. John, the 16th chapter. Jesus said, I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all the truth. For he will not speak on his own, but will speak whatever he hears, and he will declare to you the things that are to come. He will glorify me, because he will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Christ.
So how do you know that church is on the level? Well, in the old days, one of the things that you did was ask some questions about whether the church in question worshiped the Trinity. One God, three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And that's still a pretty good way to decide for yourself if the church in question is on the level. By way of saying on the level, I offer you this. When my wife and I bought our first house, we thought that it was pretty charming. It wasn't the biggest house, but in its own way, it held its charms, and it was a good place for us to raise our kids. A good house in a good neighborhood. But little did we know what trouble we were getting into. When it was time for us to sell our house, there were certain complications. The two sisters that decided to buy the house were in love with it, all except for the Laura Ashley style wallpaper that we had liberally applied in the living room. I told them that it would be easy for them to take it off because I applied it over that other stuff that you have to put over bumpy walls. I hope they didn't have any trouble. There were other things. There were the termites that ate about a third of the little playhouse that the kids had in the backyard. There was our beloved pet, who ended up buried under a crepe myrtle tree in the side yard. Oh, there were other things as well. There was a small leak in the ceiling. Small, but a leak nonetheless. Anyway, they seemed to be tolerant of all those things, but their realtor objected to one little picky detail. There was a crack in the foundation. It went from one side of the house to the other, about right in the middle. And you could tell when it was winter, not by looking outside, but by which way the hinge-like crack went in the foundation. Winter down, summer up. Winter down, summer up. And the realtor decided that that was probably not going to be a good thing for her clients. So, about a week before closing, she brought in an expert with a machine and a pad and paper to write down the results on. The sisters came, the realtor came. She wouldn't look us in the eye or say hello to us. She was determined to get to the bottom of all this. And the expert, of course, who introduced himself and explained what he was doing. He said that when he turned the switch on the box, a blue laser light would come out and go from the front of the house all the way to the back. And it would measure the slope created by the foundation crack. The tolerance was 1/16 of an inch, I believe. And no, it was 1/8, excuse me, 1/8 of an inch. And if it was more than that, no lender would touch the house. And the sisters would go home, collect their money, and we would be stuck with one broken house. He turned on the laser. We watched as he measured, He turned off the laser and departed. A little bit later, a few days, came the news. And this is where I got the other figure. Our tolerance was 1/16 of an inch. And we passed the test. And we sold the house. Goodbye, termites. Goodbye, dog in the garden. And goodbye, cracked foundation. We passed the test. We had a good foundation. Now, up until very recently, and maybe now as well, the foundation test for the church was whether or not the church believed in the Holy Trinity. You explain it to me. I'll try and explain it to you. Once again, one God, three persons. Three persons, one God. We collect the names from the Bible. There they are, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and we hold those names and those persons in our hands like roses, precious to the sight and to all the senses. They are our God. But we also believe in the God of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who worshiped one God. See how easy it is? No, it's not easy at all. Don't say that. Don't look that way. It's not easy at all. I tried to explain the Trinity once as kind of like Mrs. Doubtfire. And there she is in the restaurant with the family, and she has to be Robin Williams 1 minute, so she runs into the bathroom, and she changes into her Robin Williams clothes and comes out again and talks for a while, and they say, well, wonder what Mrs. Doubtfire thinks about that. So Robin Williams runs back into the bathroom, changes into his Mrs. Doubtfire clothes, and runs back out again. And I said, that's like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. They're all the same, but different functions. No, wrong, bad, heresy. It's called modalism. You can't explain the Trinity that way. Why am I telling you this? Because in the history of the church, what they've discovered is that if you try to nail down the nature of the Holy Trinity with purely human understanding, you probably got it wrong. As an old pastor explained to me once when I was very young in the ministry, if you think you know the Trinity, you don't. So what kind of a test is that? What kind of a test is that? When you push those two concepts together and they get closer and closer and closer, the laser beam that comes out is a word called mystery. If you are willing to acknowledge that everything that we know about our triune God ends up being a holy and wonderful mystery, then you probably got it. And if your church is willing to say, we know a lot about God from the Bible, but you know what? We still don't know everything. And we're willing to let God be God and show us and tell us in his own time and pleasure. Then that's probably a pretty good foundation. But let's go back again. That foundation is about thoughts. It's about theology. It's about a really sophisticated way of talking about God. And if you're not into that, then let me introduce you to someone who can help. In the gospel, that person's name is Jesus the Christ. Did you see what he did this morning when we were reading the gospel? It was pretty short, so let's go back over it again. He's talking to the disciples. The disciples know that pretty soon he's going to die. And he's already promised them that he's going to be resurrected from the dead on the third day and ascend into heaven. And he does all those things. And so he wants to explain himself and God to these people who are a little bit edgy because they haven't figured out God yet either. They haven't even figured out the cross. So he says, fellas, if I explain everything about the faith to you right now, it'd be more than you can stand. Yeah, it really would. No, go ahead, explain. No, it would be more than you can stand. So what I'm going to do is leave it at what you know for a while, and then send the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit will explain your God and his workings to you as time goes on, with the things that you need to know when you need to know them. A God who explains himself to us sympathetically and lovingly when we need to know might just be the foundation that we're looking for in this world. Jesus thinks so. Did I mention a house and a foundation? Yes, I did. When I was growing up, my family lived in Washington, D.C. for a while. It was during the Kennedy administration, and honestly, we thought that we had died and gone to heaven. All of those wonderful things happening around Washington, D.C. all the time. And then, if you got bored, there was Jackie. My parents loved it. I loved it. My younger sister loved it. And then, home office called and told my dad that he'd have to move back to the Midwest. No. But we did. And as a part of trying to get acclimated to our new surroundings, my parents decided that they would build a house. This house would be the place that my sister and I could bring our friends and socialize when we were teenagers, and we did. It could be a place where my mom could give the dinner parties that she so loved. My dad could come home at night and putter around with 2x4s and lawn stuff, and everybody be happy. And that's the way it turned out, but not without some problems. We built into the side of a hill in a little forest in the middle of town our house. We dug out the hillside. We poured the footings. We erected walls. And then the second story. And then the roof. And as we got going, it was time to lay the cement on the first floor. And that would kind of anchor the house into the side of the hill. That was the way we planned it. And then it rained. It rained a little bit that summer, and then it rained the next day. And then it rained the day after that. And then we turn on the television in the morning, hoping it wouldn't rain, and the weatherman would say, rain in our future. It rained all summer. We didn't know what to do. And every time it rained, that place where the cement flooring was supposed to go in the house got wetter and wetter and wetter. And we almost gave up. We despaired of ever pouring that cement floor and getting on with our house until my dad had an idea. The idea involved me too. He said, Richard, find your oldest clothes and your oldest shoes. And that night, after work, dressed the way we should have been dressed, we went to the house. We took 4 buckets, one for each hand. And we loaded the buckets up with mud. And we took them out and we poured them into the forest. And we did it again and again and again. And then the next night we repeated the same thing. And the night after that for over a month until it stopped raining. My dad said that in order to get rid of all of that mud and get a place ready for them to pour the cement, we hauled 500 buckets of mud before he got too tired and stopped counting. Then they came and they poured the floor. And the guys who did it said, you know what? We measured before we poured. And you've got a foundation here that is so strong that you could drive a semi-truck across it, fully loaded, and not crack it. As long as there's anybody to come and see this house, it'll be here, and it isn't going anywhere. That was a foundation. Jesus is looking out for his disciples. His hands do not carry the marks of buckets. They carry the marks of our sin as he takes them away from us, like the prayer said, as far as east is from west. His hands carry us, where we need to go, when we need to be there. He is familiar with our burdens and knows their weight. He knows how to help us through our lives. And that is our foundation. We can talk about the Father who gives us a place to build by creating the earth. We can talk about the Son who clears out the mud and refuse of a life that we can't live anymore and clears the way for something new. We can talk about the Spirit that tells us when to do what we need to do to get ready for God to build something new. We can talk about all of those in one God, going to bat for us in their own way, working together every day. When we talk about that, we talk in the words of the Creed that we say to each other every Sunday. And we hold up that mystery. How does God do this? I don't know, but I know he does it. We can make the sign of the cross on ourselves and say, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit in one God, in one motion. And understand that although we don't know everything about how God works, we know he works for us and saves us and loves us. Call the Holy Trinity a mystery. But remember, in that mystery, he carries our burdens and clears the ground for new life every day. Amen.